So Daily, I'm your host, Mystic Raven. Okay, a couple days ago, I actually got to post a build called the Tesla Coil Build. This build is a spin-off of that build. I'm still missing two weapons. Once again, Elder Scrolls hates me with weapon drops. But there was one person who actually posted on about spammable abilities. I'm going to be getting into that. But let's get into the build first off. First off, I'm going to go ahead and get into the character sheet, guys. We're sitting at 19, sorry, buff dropped. Let me make sure everything's up. Okay. So we're sitting at 41,427 max magicka. Health is at 19,458. Recovery is at 827 magicka. And spell damage is at 2,175. Spell crit is currently at 48.2. When we go to the dual side, we're at 41,410 and 19,458 once again. And of course, spell damage has gone up to 2,640. To the left, you're going to see magicka at 52 and health at 12. And of course, the boon we're running is the apprentice. Now, as I'm going to get into this gear, please note that I'm still missing weapons. But we have the elegant lightning staff. Currently, it's defending. Ideally, I want decisive on my lightning staff, but I'm having a problem getting it, and nobody seems to be selling it on the guild vendors. So we're just using defending currently. What the elegant set's going to do for us, it's going to give us 124 spell damage, 933 max magicka, 933 max magicka. Increases your light and heavy attacks by 20%. Keep that in mind as I'm going to go through the skills. We have currently the Sword of the Scathing Mage currently in charge. It's not bad, but ideally I want this to be sharpened. Okay, and of course I have the Elegant Sword Indecisive with the Crusher enchantment. And the reason you're going to want decisive on this, every time you're actually generating ultimate, you're gaining extra ultimate. It's only a 17% chance, but the more you're gaining, the more it'll actually increase your regen on your ultimate. And this is what this build is absolutely needing, because the reason we don't have a spammable is because we're using power overload to proc currently, and that becomes our spammable. So we want to regen as much ultimate as possible and as fast as possible. So you really want to go with decisive on this. Currently we have a medium head of Molokina with max magicka and divines. Also, we have a chest of Scathing Mage infused. We have shoulders, heavy, that's max health in divines. Sash of elegant, max magicka divine. Hands of Scathing Mage divine, max magicka. Legs of Scathing Mage infused, max magicka. And feet of elegance, also in divine. And our necklace is elegant with max spell power. Ring of Elegant, max spell power, and Ring of Scathing Mage, max spell power. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get into the skill rotation. This is the way this is set up. We're going to use Elemental Drain, right, guys? Elemental Drain is going to inflict them with Major Breach, which reduces their spell resistance by 21 seconds. Also, what I want you to take a look at is down here in the passive for the Destruction Staff, we ignore 10% of the enemy's resistance. So a lot of times people want to go sharpen. Keep in mind, light armor is giving you 4,884 for penetration, right? And we're getting the 10% from the staff, right, guys? And add this with the elemental drain. That's giving us all of our penetration that we're going to be needing. So when people say, why don't you have sharpen? Because I'm using enough penetration to, get through. Okay, so just to cover the basics here. We're also going to be using Unstable Wall of Storms. This is going to be an AoE. We're also going to be using Storm Pulse. Now, for a lot of people who are aware what I do with the sorcerers, I combo this up with Endless Fury. Now, the reason being, once I proc Endless Fury and I hit the Storm Pulse, it's going to shrink their life and it's going to proc the Endless Fury's secondary effect, which is going to deal an additional 11,961 shock damage and an AoE effect, which is 2,173 to nearby enemies. All right, and once I kill them with this, I'm also restoring magicka. So between the Endless Fury and the Elemental Drain, I'm retaining magicka to keep proccing my Mulakina. Now, Inner Light's going to be on both bars. The reason being, it's going to give us Major Prophecy and increase our max magicka. Also, we're going to be using Bound Ages, because what this is going to do, it's going to also increase our max magicka. On this bar, we have Thunderstorms if it's needed, but ideally, I don't want to be using this as much as possible, okay? But it's on there just in case. This is our builder, Power Surge. Power Surge is going to give us Major Brutality, Major Sorcery, increasing our weapon damage and spell damage by 20% for 33 seconds. And while it's active, any critical strikes I do will heal me for 2,550. Also, what we're going to be doing here is Lightning Flood. When I'm on the dual bar, this is going to help proc Scathing Mage, and it's going to be a nice AoE effect. Of course, I just went over Endless Fury. Endless Fury is on this bar. This is our main proc between Storm Pulse. Once again, Inner Light, Bound Ages, and this is what makes this build possible, the Power Overload. Power Overload is going to deal base damage of 19,706 shock damage, and also, if I do the AoE, it's dealing 7,778 shock damage. Now, what's really nice with the Elegant set, and I'll get into the champion points here in a minute, the Sorcerer doesn't have an execution, right? The Elegant set, paired with the champion points, is going to act like an execution once they drop down below 25%. And I'm about to show you guys here into the champion system. So I didn't get to go over this last time, but this is what we're going to do. Elfborn, we're going to put at 10%. A lot of people would like to have that higher, but with this build, you're not going to be able to do that. Elemental Experts at 21%. Now, usually I like to keep around 23, but we're not going to do that either because we're putting 70 points into the Staff Expert. The reason being, we want the Butcher. Light and heavy attacks deal 5% more damage to enemies below 25% health. When I'm hitting the Power Overload, that is going to be hitting with the Elegant set. So I'm going to get 25%, I'm going to get 5% in the extra 20. So that's 25% more damage in execution range. So my Power Overload becomes my execution effect. Right, guys? Also, I'm going to be able to do a lot of weaves and a lot more damage on mobs with the weaving. So that's why I don't have a spammable. I'm weaving constantly. I'm hitting the procs. I'm hitting all the combos. And then I'm just going to clean it up with the staff. Shattering Blows only has 5 for 3.1, just in case there's any mobs that have a shield. Also, because we are going to be using a lot of weaves, we want to put a couple points into Precise Strikes. Over here, we have Ironclad at 6.5, of course, Hardy's at 20.4, and Elemental Defenders at 20.4. I just separated, and Thick Skins at 3%. Quick Recovery, because I'm going to be healing myself, I want to go ahead and pump that up to about 5.5. Now, this is a big deal. Magician, you want to put up to about 12%. To reduce the magic cost of spells, especially with Kina. Tenacity, 8.5. You're going to scale this up just a tidbit more than typical because you're going to be doing a lot of weaving. And once again, Mulakina is very heavy, but as you're weaving, you're going to retain a lot more magicka. Arcanist is at 22.5. I usually keep about 23, but I dropped a couple points to put the difference in tenacity, and health is at 2.6 just to give me a little cushion. And of course, there's nothing in the shadow. So that's how it's up. And of course, I did pick up the dailies today. And it's Banished Cells, City of Ash, and Ruins of Mazatun. And of course, I'm DPS, so we all know how that's going to go. But I'm going to try to actually queue into a random. And hopefully maybe I can get, but I'm actually hoping I can get a faster queue. Let me see something. Let's see if I can get into the dailies. Alright. We'll queue them both. Which Spindle Clutch was that again? I think it was 2. Yeah. Oh, Banished Cells 2. Alright. Okay, so we're going to go Banished Cells 2. And which City of Ash? My memory is just really bad. And City of Ash 2. It's going to be good. Alright. So Banish Souls 2, City of Ash 2, Banish Souls 2, City of Ash 2, and I'll do Mazzoth on normal. I don't have a problem with that one. Okay, I'm going to go to Rothgar, kind of set up the combos while we're waiting. Hopefully I get a queue here. And show you guys what we're going to be doing here. And how it all works out. I didn't get a chance last time, so I'm really sorry about that. Now, like I said with the Tesla Coil Build, it's going to be a little different for you guys if you're not used to... it's setting up everything is going to be issue here. All right. Anything to kill. Jeez, Matuzas. Oh, there's Ecotrites. Perfect. Alright. First thing I want to go ahead and do is I want to go ahead and reduce resistance. I'm going to proc Kina right away. I'm going to drop this and then hit that. As you guys can see, it hits the combo. Same thing. Hit this. Proc Kina with 2 lights. Bingo. And that's how that's done. Okay, that's how the combo's set up. It might seem a little crazy, but it actually works out really good. On mobs, I want to go ahead. Messed up there. Alright. Of course, I'm not putting my builder on. Alright, let's get that builder up. Once again, proc it. Okay. Gonna proc. Alright. Trying to draw up some ultimate here. Alright. Should be enough. Okay. 39. Now I'm getting between, depending if I'm getting Scathing Mage procced, I'm getting around the 40,000 if everything's procced right. So. Alright. Once again, we'll proc. Alright. Really hoping for a Q. I think we got enough here. Alright. Perfect. There's 37. Now, mind you, I don't have Spell Power Cure or Warhorn up. And I should be hitting around about 51 with everything, you know, up. Now, there are different sets out there that'll give you more, but the thing about this build is we're continuously trying to use Power Overload more consistently. So it's going to push out a lot more damage in the long run. Like I said, guys, it's going to take you guys a minute to kind of get, if you're going to run this build, to get accustomed to the combos. But even as you guys can see, I can proc Kina, run all the abilities. That decisive and the returns definitely make things a lot better. Now, if you're not into a lot of heavy combos and you want to keep it simple, this is not going to be a build for you. I will tell you that. But if you guys really want to push out a nice amount of damage, this is really nice. This is a nice setup. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can get random. Just the way it goes. Not easy being a DPS, guys. Not easy. Okay, so you guys kind of get the idea of that combo, how we're going to be running it. Especially in your dungeons. When you're around a bunch of mobs, this setup works extremely well. I mean, it's phenomenal how fast things just go down. And this combination right here, this setup, like people are like, you don't have a spammable. Well, what I'm doing here is this is for mob control, right? So when I hit with the Endless Fury, and then I switch back and hit them with the Storm Pulse, it actually devastates the mobs quite a bit. And that's kind of what you want to take advantage with this build. When it comes to spammable, I'm using the Power Overload. So once again, you know, I'm hitting this. $40,000. All right. Like I said, with usually about with the Warhorn and Spell Power Cure, I'm hitting around, I'm almost 50, almost. So it's kind of nice, guys. This is not a bad build whatsoever. It's fun. Oh, why isn't my weapon swap working? Oh, it's because I'm in Power Overload. Probably why. There it is. Like I said, I want to keep proccing Kina. A lot of people can't proc Kina quite a bit because their build's not meant for it. They drain out too fast. I don't have a lot of regen in this build. So the whole idea is to keep using the decisive and the skills to your benefit. Remember, elemental drain, while the effect's active, anytime I'm dealing shock damage, I'm restoring 538 magicka, right? And I'm constantly dealing shock damage. Also, what you got to keep in mind, when I make the kill, I'm also going to get 4,132 max magicka. This allows me to continuously proc Kina and keep Kina up all the time. Along with Scathing Mage proc and the Power Overload as a spammable effect, I'm pushing out a considerable amount more DPS than most builds. This is why this works out so well. So if anybody's going to question it and say, well, you don't have a spammable, spammable. Keep in mind, the power overload in this build becomes the spammable effect. We're going to be using the Endless Fury and all the proccing effects to proc the Scathing Mage, because the dots are going to help proc it. Once that's initiated and we hit the power overload, along with decisive weapons, we're going to be able to retain a lot more ultimate and generate faster. So a lot of people are always going to say, why not sharpen? Because I have my penetration, and 2, I want to keep building ultimate up as fast as possible. All right, guys. So I didn't get a queue, and I'm very sorry about that. But if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post below. I really hope you guys enjoy this build. And once again, and always, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.